body. Can you feel it? How about now? Feel the bass. Turned up loud. Speaker bumping. How about now? Feel the music. Can you feel it? How about now?
All right. Hey, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you may be in this transformative, awakening, chaotic, fast-paced world of ours. This is Metaphysical Meetup with Marc live here on the Intuitive Prospector page. Happy Friday. Happy 4th of July for those celebrating here in the United States. I'm your host, Marc Lainhart, the Intuitive Prospector, where I'm all about exploring the many mysteries and curiosities and coincidences and synchronicities of life. We try to show up here on Fridays at 10-ish a.m. We just got a little late. Technology wasn't working like I wanted it to, so we were a few minutes late. But welcome to my team. Welcome to my subscribers. If you are a subscriber, a couple ways to do that is you can go right here to marclainhart.com, hit that subscribe button. There's two options, Patreon prospectors or Diamonds Hub subscribers. You can also go to my events page and click on the events page to get that membership. And the reason I bring that up is because today is the first Friday. It's the 4th of July here, and it is the first Friday of every month, which is dedicated to you, the subscribers. So if you're fans of the page, you follow the page, get that subscriber notification badge next to your name. And what that means is at 11:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time today, first Friday of every month is Diamonds Days. 11:30 a.m. will be the first morning session for my more of my international community, and then at 3 p.m. for more of the local, United States, Canada folks. So 11:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time and 3 p.m. You get those links at the pages. If you're a Patreon prospector, paid Patreon prospector, it doesn't apply to free membership at my Patreon. But my Patreon prospectors paid and my Diamonds Hub paid subscribers. This is your ability to come in and have a reading with me every month. Like I said, the first Friday of every month is dedicated to my subscribers. So I hope you'll join me today. Those links will be on the closed page for the subscribers page and over on the Patreon prospectors page. Again, these are for paid members only. There's different tiers of payment from $2.22. I think the highest I go is $7.77, $7.77, $4.99 for Diamonds Hub. But it's a great way to get monthly guidance, whether it's for guidance, meditation, healing, transformation, intuitive coaching, mediumship, psychic. It just really depends on what you want to get out of your subscription with me. So I do want to say thank you to all of the subscribers over my YouTube channel. You've helped us to grow immensely, over 41,000 subscribers now. There is a new episode over there if you want to check that out over on my YouTube channel. I'd love to have you be a subscriber over there as well. So again, to learn about who I am, what I do, my background, my education, my soul adventures, you can go right here to marclainhart.com or just internet search the Intuitive Prospector, and you can explore with me the many fascinations of life and the mysteries of living and dying and the journey of spirituality. I do want to say I'm officially now, after 3.5 years of study, almost 4 years, actually 4 years, because I had to throw my surgeries in there. I got a medical exemption because I've had 4 surgeries in the last year, so it's a lot of surgeries, I guess, to take part in. But after 4+ years, I'm now an accredited medium through the Spiritual National Union. So it means I've been put in front of a board, I've done services, I've been reviewed, I've been vetted, and I'm also now I have been a certified professional psychic through a couple local United States, Bob Olson's Best Psychic Directory and Shay Parker's Best American Psychics, which I've been for over 10 years certified. So it's just nice to have that title behind accredited and certified for what it is that I do if you want to journey with me. So again, the education is always important, but also the experiences, right? So today I was thinking about what I wanted to talk about, and let me get over to the Intuitive Prospector page. Again, you can just type in the Intuitive Prospector in the internet if you don't go to marclainhart.com, and I promise I will pop up. So good morning to some of you who are joining this morning. So let me give some shout outs. Hi, Mary. Hi, Jane. Good to see you. Thanks for being here today. And this morning I want to talk about spirituality is ... So grab your coffee, grab your tea. Jane, I've got your nice bracelet. One of my students sent me all the way from Wales a nice bracelet here for my birthday, so I'm wearing that for you. So thank you for that. Nice, lovely gift, Jane. And today's message is about what is spirituality. And I want to give you just a perspective of my journey of spirituality. And that's why I always like to say spirituality is ... Because the first half of my life, I was always raised in organized religion. And I have nothing bad to say about organized religion. That's just a path that many of us as humans want to follow, trying to find out who we are, why we're here, what is God, who is God, where is God. But there is a big difference between religion and spirituality. And I found this over the years that for me, spirituality isn't an actual belief system. It's a tuning in process. And it's no different than tuning in to today's show, tuning into a radio station. And when you tune into the radio station and you found that radio station, there's music to be played, there's joy to be had, there's healing to be experienced, right? And I have found that with spirituality, it's not so much a belief system, it's more of a tuning in system. It's more of tuning into what's right for you. And again, if you don't want to tune in, you don't have to, right? Sometimes ignorance is bliss. I sometimes go back and think, gosh, years ago when I started to go down this path of psychic and mediumship and healing and intuition, like, what am I getting into? And I found that when you tune in, there's a lot of joy that can be when you find that right station for you, right? Just like in the radio band for you, AM network, FM network. There's a lot of content out there. But I've also learned if you don't tune into those stations, all you're going to be doing is going to be stuck in static. So for me, spirituality is a tuning in process. And if you don't want to tune in, you can stay stuck in static, right? It's pretty that simple. But I find that over the journey of education and knowledge and soul adventures and experience, we become the sum of our experiences. And I've talked about that. And I found that spirituality is a more of a deeply personal and often transformative experience compared to what I experienced in the first half of my life with religion, because I was always told I had to go to somebody else to confess my sins if I wanted to get into heaven. And if I didn't, I was going to go to hell. And it was kind of, from a psychology standpoint, it's kind of messed up to do that to a young child, to think that, it's a way of control, right? It's a way of dogma. It's a way of institutionalized. And if you're not good enough, you're going to burn in the pits of hell. And I found that to be very, very aggressive. And I've always thought in my mind, if you have a perfect God, again, whatever God is or whoever God is for you, I don't try to explain God. I know that there is another side of this after what we call life. There is life after death, or what I like to say, life after life. But the concepts of my experiences with God, both divine masculine and divine feminine, are much different than what I was taught about, oh, you need to be a good boy. If you're not a good boy, you're going to burn in the pits of hell. And I always thought, well, if God is such a perfect entity, a perfect construct, then why would God create an imperfect construct, us humans, and then judge us for being imperfect? That just, it never resonated with me. And so I started to become more of a spiritualist I started to explore this journey back in 2008. And this was a few years after the death, the traumatic deaths of my brothers and my father-in-law all at the same time. I always believe things come in threes. I believed that in my days of firefighting and Coast Guard days before I became a spiritualist. And I found that through that trauma and tragedy, it changed me to look at my world differently. It changed me. It changed the alchemy of who I am, my vibration, my belief systems. And I started to explore back in 2008, looking for answers to life and what comes after. Because when you're, looking at your brother's cold body in a casket, that's a reality check, y'all. That's a wake-up call. Watching your father-in-law pass at a young age, all young ages. My youngest brother was 21. Todd was 35, brain cancer. Michael was murdered. Don, my father-in-law, multiple sclerosis, 47, heading for 48. So when you have that reality of going and sitting in a funeral and seeing their bodies and touching their bodies, and there's nothing there, there's no energy, there's no life, and they're going into the eternal rest of the ground or cremation, that's a wake-up call to be like, okay, I know that one day I will not be here. I will be in that exact same scenario. And so I started to explore in the concept of spirituality. And over that course, it's taken me all around the world. And I've had the opportunity to learn and be mentored by some of the greatest in their fields and have just that deeper understanding to where it leads me now to be not only accredited as a psychic medium, but also certified as a professional psychic medium. And for me, that was the goal that started back in 2008, because I said if I was going to be doing this, then I wanted to be accredited or certified in what I do. I didn't just want to hang my shingle and say, hey, look at me, I'm a psychic medium. There's a lot of people out there that do that without putting in the work. And again, what I mean by the work is putting the work, the self-healing, to know thyself, so we can go out and share that with the rest of the world. That's why I talk about the diamond within, because diamonds are created under extreme pressures and circumstances. And it's up to us, if we want to reveal the diamond within and also explore the many hidden gems that are all around us. Because I've learned in this day and age, just because we don't see it here doesn't mean it's not here. And there's many examples I use all the time: gravity, wind, the air we breathe, the Wi-Fi signal that's connecting me to you right now through the internet, right? And so I found in that journey, starting back all the way back in 2008, after I'd done some of honoring my own grief, I realized that spirituality was more of a personal and transformative experience that encompasses a sense of connection to something greater than oneself, is how I would define spirituality. Spirituality is a tuning in process, not necessarily a belief process. I guess the belief would be part of that, but it's more about exploring. And that's where the concept, the intuitive prospector, was created and born out, because it's more about exploring the beliefs, exploring the values and practices that help foster inner peace and purpose and a sense of being. We are human beings, but a lot of us are doing human doings without being the human being. And so that's where the intuitive prospector was born out, to be like, okay, I want to use, because I do believe that everybody has intuition, and it's about how we use the intuition. The intuition, I think, to me, if I visually was to paint a picture for you, the intuition is the internal radio station that we can dial in to tune into those frequencies, whether it's psychic, whether it's mediumship, whether it's intuitive coaching, whether it's just finding guidance in through meditation or prayer or movement. And the journey to find that inner peace, that sense of being that the Buddha talked about all the time, trying to find that nirvana. I didn't realize I was going to use that, but to find that bliss, to find that enlightenment, to find that nirvana. And that's where I started to journey and understand and explore and now teach and write about and podcast about and do these shows. And so the journey may include, like I said, modalities from meditation, mindfulness, prayer, engagement with nature. I always tell the younger generation, your religion should be nature, not an organized institutional structure, but getting out in nature, connecting with nature, because nature is our greatest teacher, our greatest inspirer, our greatest engineer. And nature is the one thing on this planet that can change on a dime and say, humans, you're not as important as you think you are. I learned that early on in my Coast Guard days when I was out, and the first time out in one of the most dangerous bar crossings in the world, second dangerous bar crossing to Cape Horn, Africa, and that's Cape Disappointment, right down here south of me in Washington State, where the Columbia River enters into the Pacific Ocean. I was thrown in the deep end of the pool to understand the strength and the power of Mother Nature. And I became really aware, really quick, through some pain and the surgeries I'm having today, that I've had to have today later in life, are from those experiences as a 23-year-old out on the Pacific Ocean of the Big Blue and Cape Disappointment. But I learned to respect Mother Nature very quickly from what I witnessed, what I was in, and what I saw. And you can also take spirituality and express your spiritual pathways through various religious traditions, I guess I would say, but through more individual practices. I find that spirituality, for me, again, spirituality is ... You can fill in that blank. I'm just sharing with you. To me, it's more of a tuning in into a frequency or a concept versus following a belief system blindly. Because belief systems do have control. They have dogma. They're instilled with fear, right? When I was raised, it was instilled in fear to scare a young boy to be good, because I was quite crazy, and still probably am a little crazy. I believe in UFOs and I believe in Bigfoot, and the many mysteries of life. But it was a sense of trying to control versus exploring to choose your own path, right? And that's free will and choice. That's our greatest power why we're here, and our greatest responsibility why we're here. But I always talk about the 3 C's in life: make a choice, take a chance, see the change. And for me, it's about seeking meaning, seeking purpose, understanding with a deeper awareness of life, the existence of life, and who we are and how we interact with life. So that, for me, is what spirituality is about. And I'm just going to give you some concepts to think about, because again, we were just talking about in my spiritual development group, I have an awesome spiritual development group. And, what we do is we all have different experiences. So we bring to the group, it's a peer-led group. I lead the group, but there are other times where my senior members will lead the group. But it's about bringing perspectives to the circle, bringing perspectives to the tribe, because I found that the greatest spiritual strength anybody can have is your ability to shift your perspective. You're entitled to your perspective, but when you see somebody else's and you've maybe walked in their shoes and you understand that deeper empathy or that compassion or that understanding of what they're feeling, that helps you to understand their perspective, right? Because we all have different perspectives, but we all sit at the same table of life, right? Because at some point that chair gets pulled out and you're no longer sitting at the table of life in the physical world. Now you've crossed over into the etheric world. And so I always ask my students, offer me your perspective, because that is your greatest strength, is your ability to shift your perspective. And as Eckhart Tolle writes about and teaches about, awareness is the greatest agent for change in your journey, if you choose to, and you don't have to, right? Sometimes just staying plugged into the matrix, keeping those blinders on, staying in your lane, that's okay. There are people that we know and love and family and friends that will do that, and that's okay. But for me, I was like, I ain't staying in my lane. I'm going to explore, and I'm going to become the intuitive prospector, understand what this concept of spirituality is. And again, spirituality can exist in numerous ways. It doesn't have to be pigeonholed into Y'all like my alien shirt? July is National Month of Alien Days. I think it's July 24th. So a couple weeks from now. I got this shirt for an event we went down to in Oregon a couple years ago, UFO Fest. It was a lot of fun, actually. So, but spirituality can exist and manifest in numerous ways, depending on individual belief systems, based on your cultural backgrounds, your how you were raised, your personal experiences. And here are some key concepts to what I've discovered in 2 decades of looking at spirituality as a certified accredited spiritualist, but also continuing to learn, because I think it was Plato that talked about a man who claims to know it all knows nothing at all. And there's a lot that I still don't know, right? Even science today teaches us mathematically proof of concept. We've only discovered in concept of 4% of science as we know it today, and we've been around for a while. So if you measure that 4% from 100%, that means that there's still 96% we still don't comprehend or understand. We will. Technology, AI, automation, robotics, that's all happening. That's going to unlock the journey and the doors that have been locked for a long time. It's a whole different discussion. But that in 4% over this next decade will probably increase to anywhere between 5 and 6%. But that's still 90% plus that we just don't know or understand. So the first one I would say is the connection of spirituality. And connection, many people feel a profound connection to universe, to nature, to a higher power. This sense of interconnection that we all share and we all know of can lead to that feelings of unity, community, belonging. Now, I know there may be some of you out there that don't have that belief system or don't have that internal calling. That's fine, because I've seen from full believers to full atheists that just believe once this journey is done, this body goes into the ground and that's it. There's no more. And there's agnostic. We want proof, right? The ego mind wants proof. I know that sometimes I'm still agnostic because I want proof, even though I've seen it and experienced it several times. So I've found with spirituality is ... you fill in the blanks. But I found that through spirituality, there's self-discovery. And what I mean by that, it involves a introspection and self-reflection to know thyself. Some people don't want to look at themselves, right? They're stuck in the past of what happened to them as a victim, or they're anticipating the future that's never guaranteed. That's why we talk about the power in the present moment. And that's all you have is right now, is this moment with me. If you're joining me today, thank you for joining in. Grab your coffee, grab your tea. Let's have a philosophical discussion and understanding about spirituality is ... you fill in that blank. But I found that when I explore my thoughts, my emotions, my past, my beliefs, and I work to heal through that, I gained a deeper understanding of who I am, of where I'm at, who Marc Lainhart is, the intuitive prospector, but also my place in this world. Most of my life, I was exploring everything. If you look at my resume of what I've done from education to experiences, I've done a lot in my 50 plus years on the planet. And if I was to die today, I'd be okay with that, because I've lived a life and I don't fear life. Mark Twain always talked about, those that fear death are really the ones that fear life, because they're not living their life to the fullest. And I paraphrase there, but I've also found through this journey of spirituality that there's mindfulness and presence in the state of being. Again, human being. Why are we called human beings? Who came up with that concept? Have you ever asked yourself that question? Who called us humans, and why are we human beings? It's a really weird concept. Think about it. Things that make you go, Things that make you go, Things that make you go, right? Things that make you go, right? But I found that practices such as, I do Qigong in the morning, which is the study and movement of your own energy field, your own auric field. And one of the things you can do, this was actually in a movie years ago, The Karate Kid. If you ever saw The Karate Kid, Mr. Miyagi would do Daniel-san, bring his hands together, rub them together to create friction, which creates energy and heat. You take a deep breath in, and this is just the feeling. How is your energy today? You woke up today, where, on average, 150,000 people around the world did not wake up today. So I activate my chi. Take a deep breath in. Ooh, my energy's feeling really, like I can feel it all the way out here. And it might feel like little pins hitting the palms and the fingertips. And as you try to bring your hands closer together, you can feel resistance. You can feel almost like two magnets repelling each other. You can feel that. So we say, activate your chi. Feel your chi. and then open up your auric field to live your chi for today, because that is the greatest opportunity, is right now in the present moment. So I start off with Qigong. And again, Mr. Miyagi did it back in the Karate Kid, whenever that came out. I don't remember what year it was, but he was like, Daniel-san, his legs hurting. He did it for healing. So he activated his chi. He felt his chi, and then he transferred his own chi energy to Danielson's knee. And then he went on to do the crane kick and win at the end of the movie, right? So I always found that fascinating, because I was like, oh, that's a modality. But you've got other modalities like Tai Chi, Qigong, yoga, meditation. These practices, connecting to nature, cold water therapy, breath work, soma breathing. These are all practices that you can use to connect to something, whatever you're looking for. And again, spirituality is ... You fill in that blank. I'm just sharing my experiences and what I've done for healing and transformation, especially over this last year. That, now that I've had 4 surgeries and I have 1 more surgery to go, that's 5 surgeries in just over a year, since April of last year. But that's happening to me as a victim. I can take that mindset, or it's happening for me. And I look at my life in the beginning, in the first half of my life, I did a lot of stuff, and I'm now recouping what I've done, but I would do it all over again. So this isn't happening to me. This is happening for me, because the caterpillar does not become the butterfly until it metamorphoses into a complete liquid goo of protein sac goo, from caterpillar to goo to butterfly. So there's always good things coming if you stay the course. You stay disciplined and dedicated to your own spiritual path. Find teachers and mentors along the way, just like I have, just like I am doing now with others. But I found that when you go with these practices, whether it's breath work or Qigong or just movement, the song that I played today, and I'll give a shout out to those artists because all my music is copyright free. But what that does, it encourages you to live in the moment and foster a sense of peace, awareness, and connection, or unity, through community of your surroundings. I also found in the journey that there's values and ethics to spirituality. Spirituality is ... values and ethics. And what I found with that, the more real you become about who you are, the more unreal the world around you becomes. And I found that to be true, because we live in a very crazy world, which I've been talking about and writing about since 2017. The Roaring 20s were going to be very transformative for human consciousness, human ascension, human evolution, human experiences. They'll look back at this decade that opened the door, just like the internet, just like technology, just like the computer chip, to where we're moving more into space. Like I said, automation, flying cars like the Jetsons, robots. There was just a robot walking around. I think it was down in Austin, Texas. I was like, wow, that's cool. Like just walking along, you got the automated cars that are coming out from Amazon. They're going to start the deliveries. AI, which they're now changing it from artificial intelligence to intelligence, superior intelligence. Like, it's starting to learn. We're teaching computers the language of learning, right? And so it's going to be very interesting. But through that, we can influence one's values and our moral compass. Again, moral compass, always finding your true north. And many people find that their spiritual beliefs and their philosophies and who they are with their spiritual beliefs guide their actions, guides my actions for sure, but also helps me to navigate the challenges that are thrown at me and make ethical decisions based on, sometimes you make a decision, sometimes you just step back and don't make a decision, because that is a decision by not participating, right? Observing versus absorbing kind of thing. And so you can start to get into your own rituals and traditions if you want. I'm getting ready for my 3rd year of working with plant medicines now. Second year, maybe it's my 2nd year. Working with plant medicines to understand the connection to nature, very ancient cultures, very amazing people. And that's coming up here shortly in the next few weeks. So I'm actually preparing dietary, my mind, getting ready for that experience with what I would call her grandmother, is how I would talk about that. But many people find that through their spiritual beliefs, and that it impacts their actions, and it also just helps with navigating. So, we need all the help we can get, right? This world is a very crazy world as it is. So you can do that through, like I said, rituals and traditions. There's various cultures, depending on where you're at in the world, how you were raised, your learned behaviors, how you're raised by your parents, that can express spirituality. Like I said, from meditation to prayer. Prayer is thought going out for what we want and our intentions. Meditation is listening back to that response. And a lot of us don't listen back. And the first language of spirituality, I would say, is silence. the more silent still you become, the more you actually hear. And so I found that when you celebrate life events, just like a wedding, a birth, a death, we had a few people, some friends, their mother passed. We have a family member that's really, really sick. We have a funeral, a celebration of life coming up in a couple of weeks. That's just part of the journey of life. And I found that, the journey of life is your experience, but death is not the end. Death is just a series of steps on the next concept of who we are and who we become over time. And so these practices can provide structure for you as well, and community, but you have to go out through your own personal responsibility. One of the things that I apply in my spiritual pathway is personal responsibility. And that's why I like about being spirituality and being a spiritualist, is because one of our 7 principles is personal responsibility. I haven't found that in a lot of religions, and trust me, we have studied the top 10 religions around the world: Hinduism, Judaism, Buddhism, Krishna, Catholicism, Christianity, and there's not a lot of talk of personal responsibility. It's always like, oh, blame it on God, blame it on Jesus, blame it on the Trinity, blame it on the moon, blame it on Mercury retrograde, right? But there is a personal responsibility that keeps us moving forward, to have those challenges and to face those events, but can do it through community and do it through structure and do it through positivity and mindfulness. And when you get into that state, you get into that healing and well-being. And that's where I feel like I'm at on this journey after 2 decades of exploring this. I find that many spiritual practices contribute to both the mental, the emotional, again, the mental, the emotional, and even the physical of our spiritual well-being. And spirituality can offer comfort during difficult times, promote resilience, enhance overall life satisfaction, is what I would say. But how do we get there? We have to explore it. We have to use our personal responsibility, our free will, and our choice to go out and do that. And so when your exploration of existence, that I'd call it, exploration of existence, to find your own diamond within and the many hidden gems that are all around us, questions about life, questions about death, and what lies beyond are often central to spirituality, just like it was for me many years ago when I went through what I now write about and podcast about, the traumas and tragedies that changed my life at the age of 27. And I find that when we explore our existence, that we seek answers through philosophy, through religion, through personal prayer, through nature, through personal reflection. And there's many diverse paths in spirituality. Again, spirituality is ... For you decide where you want to take this. And it's not confined to an organized religion. Spirituality as a spiritual, it is an organized religion. That's more for the material world, for finances, for donations, to be recognized as a religion, so the churches around the world can survive, right? I get that. That's why we talk about tithing and all of that. So, but I find that it can also be found in secular contexts. People might identify as spiritualists, but not religion. That's exactly where I'm at. I identify now as a spiritualist, not as a religious person. And, but I'm drawing from that conclusion and from that narrative, I'm drawing from the various sources that I've learned over these last 2 decades to create the intuitive prospector, to create this unique spiritual journey, whether it's psychic, whether it's mediumship, whether it's healing, whether it's understanding the concepts of who we are as human beings. And ultimately, if I was to break it down, spirituality is about personal growth. It's about understanding and the pursuit of the meaning of life. What is the meaning in life? What is the meaning of life? What happens after we leave this chair, this shirt, this hat, this beard, these bracelets, this watch? And I find that it invites us as individuals to explore our own beliefs in our own way, connect with others, connect with nature, and just foster that sense of fulfillment and peace is what I would say to that. So a couple other things that might help you on your journey about tuning in, because again, I don't believe that spirituality is about so much about belief. It's, for me, it's more about tuning in, just like that radio frequency. If you want to tune into your radio station, do it. But if you don't, no one's making you. Stay in the static. Stay in that all you want. There's people that actually thrive in that. But I find that viewing spirituality as a frequency to tune in suggests that it's more about a state of being, or awareness, rather than strictly adhering to specific beliefs, dogmas, fears, and doctrines. And I find that this idea of spirituality being a tuning in process, a tuning into that frequency, it highlights the importance of determination, resilience, to understand your inner self and your connection to the universe and the universe all around us. And I find that encouraging a more fluid personal experience in the exploration of spirituality, again, the exploration to explore our evolvement of who we are. I find that it implies that maintaining that connection to this frequency, if you will, can lead us to that greater peace, inner peace, and understanding about who we are in the world, and understanding. Because again, we're trying to understand why we're here, and some of us just don't want that understanding. We just wake up, work that 9-to-5 job, make that money, pay the taxes, buy stuff we can't take with us, and then we pass away or pass on. I don't think we pass away. I think we pass on. But tuning in, it's just like I said, tuning into the radio to find that right station. I find that individuals can learn to tune into their spiritual frequencies if they choose to, through practices, like I said, mindfulness, meditation, qigong, breath work, and these can help quiet the mind. It can help allow for that deeper connection and fully experiencing life, if you will. So, so let me ask you this. What is your definition of spirituality? Put your comments in the section below. I'm going to go for a few more minutes here because we have our next session 11:30 for my subscribers. It's Diamonds Day. But let me know what you think about your own spiritual path. What is spirituality to you? What does it embolden? What does it help? That tuning in process. Awareness in presence is important, or do you want to stay in the static? Do you want to stay in that static of life? And it refers to just maintaining that awareness in the presence in the moment. That's why we say yesterday's history, tomorrow's the great mystery, today's the gift. That's why we often refer to it as the present moment. And this also means being attuned to your thoughts, your emotions, your surroundings without judgment, giving yourself grace. It encourages us to live an authentic life, to find out who we are authentically. And some people don't want to experience that. I get that. I know that I kind of thought that for a few years, but just fully experiencing life, that's what I find. So I just was saying to my students, some of the most spiritual thing you can do is just to have fun, travel, meet new people, try new foods, live your life, right? Energy and vibration. Everything in the universe is made up of energy. Everything you see behind me, the water, this coffee, this microphone, this iWatch, this mouse that has batteries, everything is energy. And when you are in different thoughts, when you're in different emotions, you can experience and carry different vibrations. I go back to Nikola Tesla back in the late 1800s, where he talked about unlocking the secrets of the universe, which I believe that he did, and they covered it up and shut him down because he was through his Tesla rods, through his experiments, he was connecting to something that scared a lot of people at the time. And he always said, if you want to understand and unlock the mysteries of the universe, you have to think in terms of energy, frequency, vibration. That's always stuck with me. And so when we have that energy and vibration of our spiritual journey, so again, to me, spirituality is ... energy, vibration, and frequency. It's also plays a part in who we are. And again, by aligning ourselves with positive thoughts and feelings in individuals and communities, it can elevate our own frequency. Just like an amplifier to a guitar, it can amplify based on how you're plugging in and attracting similar energies and experiences. Now, when you go down the spiritual path, we talk about a spiritual awakening, a change in who we are. A lot of times you'll see too that your relationships, your career, your friendships will change, because people do still unfortunately come with ego and a lot of judgment in this day and age. And that's fine, because being authentic is not worrying about what other people think of you. Plus, it's none of your business what other people think of you, because people always have opinion. It was was it Aristotle or Plato? I can't remember a lot of the philosophies, but the only way that you're never going to get judged in life is by not doing anything, being anything, or saying anything. It's not like a pretty lonely place to be. So you might as well express yourself. And of course, do it with, compassion and kindness and the golden rule of how you treat others. You'll find that a lot of times that rule is not reciprocated, right? How we treat others is not always reciprocated back. But I also say sometimes that is a form of manipulation. And once manipulation ends and you become aware of that manipulation, then be prepared for rejection or not having the friendship or the family member, that you used to have, right? And so some of you aren't willing to do that. And that's okay too. But unforgiveness too keeps those in control of your thoughts. So you have to move into forgiveness as well. So personal journey. I found that spirituality, again, today's message is spirituality is ... You fill in the blanks. The personal journey. I found that spirituality as a frequency, again, not as a belief, but as a frequency, emphasizes that personal nature of one's journey. Because you come into this world alone, so shall you return. There'll be people waiting on this side when you're born. There'll be people waiting on the other side when you die, right? But it allows for individual exploration rather than the conformity to a set of beliefs or groupthink. And I see that a lot in religions, a lot of groupthink, just because it's written somewhere or somebody said it, it makes it so. No, go out and find out for yourself. Explore that. Does it feel right with you? That energy, that vibration, that frequency. Your personal journey, each person's path may involve different practices, experiences, and insights, and that's okay. But do it for yourself. Don't fall into the groupthink. Don't be a sheeple and follow the herd. Sometimes that herd can go right off the cliff, and you see a lot of that in today's society through religions, through politics. But connect with others to help you explore. The journey can be lonely until you actually, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And when the student has been prepared and ready, the student becomes the teacher, right? So connect with others, because I find when individuals resonate with that higher frequency, that mindfulness, they find a deeper connection with others. And these can be complete strangers. Like I said, my journeys with plant medicine, I didn't know a single person when I got there for 3 days. Didn't know a single person. And I look back at it now, definitely a square peg trying to fit in a round hole. But since those days, my journey, my career has changed. My body has changed. And it was some of the most loving, supportive people I've ever met. And these were perfect strangers. Amazing, amazing. Because they were all of the like-mindedness, working with plant medicines, connecting to something bigger than themselves, the surrendering of the ego. But when you connect with others, that can foster that unity through community and that support to help you, the integration that we have 6 weeks of integration after we have our 3 days of plant medicine to understand the integration of how it changes you because you're taking it in, right? And it's a sense of belonging, which I think we all want that sense of belonging. I found in the spiritual path too, and I'll kind of wrap up here, the growth and the evolution. If you're still thinking the same thoughts that you were when you were 20 or 30, and you're still living those same habits, that's fine. Again, free will and choice, but you haven't grown, you haven't evolved. And I'd love to still have my 18-year-old body, my 23-year-old body when I first went to the Coast Guard, but keep my mind as a 53-year-old now, right? And again, my views as a 53-year-old white-bodied male, again, different experiences, different cultural makeup. But I found that through growth and the evolution of the journey of spirituality is ... That frequency that I'm talking about suggests that growth is a continuous process. Just as frequencies can shift, so can our spiritual understanding, our experiences, and our perspectives. And this evolution or this ascension can lead to greater wisdom, compassion, empathy, healing, awareness of the world, to know thyself. And I found that by viewing spirituality this way, it encourages an open mind and a dynamic approach to personal growth and connection with the universe, connection with God, whatever that is for you. And if those experiences resonate with you, look me up. Get on my spiritual team. Become a subscriber if these are things that are of interest to you. So feel free to put your thoughts or comments in. Hi Nancy, hi Mom. Seeing a couple of you joining in here. Good to see you. Sela, hello. All right, good to see you all. Thanks for being here. Happy 4th to you. So if I just wanted to share those concepts to see if those resonated with you. Again, it's not a right or wrong thing. It's just a perspective that I'm sharing. And again, for me, spirituality is ... I leave that format open to you to discover the diamond within and the many hidden gems that are all around us. So again, I'm going to start signing off here. I'll do a quick reading. If you are a subscriber, if you're on here, you have a badge next to your name. That means you're a subscriber or a follower. Post in the comment section. I'll do a quick reading for you. But then at 11:30 here, so in about 30 minutes, for my Patreon prospectors or my if you're in my tribe, you can come in and get a free reading too. If you're an SDG tribal member, I should throw that in there. But if you're a Diamond Sub subscriber, a Patreon prospector, paid subscribers, I have some of my Patrons are just free members; they don't pay. That's fine too. You can do that. That's about following the journey. But today is Diamonds Days. First Friday of every month throughout the year is dedicated to you, the subscribers, and it's a great way to get some guidance, maybe a card reading, maybe some breath work, maybe I gave you some insight that's like, hey, this ain't working for you, right? Those Zoom links are in the Patreon page and over on the Diamond Sub subscribers page. Again, you can get those at marclainhart.com. I believe it's streaming through the Facebook comments. If you want to go up, I think that you can subscribe or like, but look for the Diamond Sub subscribers to get on that page because that's where the links are for the 2 Zoom rooms that'll take place at 11:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time today, and then again for my afternoon session at 3 p.m. The morning session is more for my international clients, and then the later afternoon is for most people here in the United States, Canada, Mexico. So the 2 songs I wanted to give a shout out. Move Your Body by Half.Cool. That was the second song. The first song was called Wicked Courage by Tamani, Tiamane. Those were the 2 songs that we picked for today. So I hope you like. I did like Move Your Body because we do need to move our bodies, right? Movement is life. Moving is life. And then I'll close with something pretty cool here at the end here. But I like to give a shout out. Maybe we'll do Smile to celebrate the 4th. But I always give a shout out to the musicians, the artists that share their approved content music with me because they work hard too. They're trying to make a living. So if you want to check that song out, the first one was called Move Your Body by Half.Cool, and the next one was Wicked Courage by Tamani. All right. So let's see here. Let's go over to the Facebook page here. Give you a shout out. Like I said, if you want to get over my YouTube channel, there's a new show over there if you want to check that out and join the 41,000 prospectors in search of their own spiritual gold. So, all right. So let's see here. Give me a sec, y'all. All right. Happy 4th, Angelique. Good to see you. Tara, thanks for being a subscriber. So you'll look at Tara's badge. She's got a badge next to her name. So if you click on that little, green heart, that's a subscriber notification. So, and so Tara, you would like to, let's see here. I'm going to start with her because she's one of my subscribers. Hi, Dana. Dana, sorry. See, I just did it again. I knew it Dana for so many years. But hi, Dana. Hope you're feeling better. Hi, Tara. So Tara, let me start with you. Do you want a reading? I'll take a reading. What kind of reading do you want, Tara? And then Adriana, hello, Adriana. Good to see you. It's been a while. I'll take a card of your choice. You don't want your color card? You don't want your color card? Come on. What's going on? So Tara, tell me what you want for your reading. And also, Dana, you're a subscriber. So if you want a reading, or you can join me at 11:30. It's Diamond Days. First Friday of every month is dedicated to the subscribers. So you can do a reading here, or you can come in at 11:30 through the Zoom room link, which is on the subscriber pages, or 3 p.m. Those are the 2 sessions that are open. And then we're going to celebrate the 4th of July. 250 years already for the United States. Let's hope we survive as an empire, because most empires in history don't make it past 250. Even Rome didn't make it. They made it past 250. They rolled thousands of years, but eventually they failed too. So kind of feel like that's where we're at. So Tara, Dana, and Adriana. Okay, so we'll do this in order. So Tara wants a card, whatever deck comes up first, okay, and then a color card for Adriana. Okay, so Adriana, I'll pull the color deck for you. Here's a color deck. Tara, for you, and again, Dana, if you want a reading, let me know because you're also a subscriber. And again, you can see my subscribers because they have a little badge next to their name. So whatever comes up first. Let's do a flower sentience deck for you today. So You all know how this works. Tara, you're up first. Hi, Oda. So Odith, I need you to become a subscriber, hun. Happy 4th to you as well. May have a card of your choice, because that green button isn't lit up. See, if you look up at Dana's name above yours, see you at 11:30. Okay, I'll see you down at 11:30. That's what I'm doing first is my subscribers, because today is all about the subscribers, Diamond's Day. And again, for $4.99 a month, y'all, it's less than a cup of coffee one day at Starbucks. This is not Starbucks. I made this. I make pretty damn good coffee. All right, so Tara, you know the drill. I got the deck. When you hear the word stop, type it in the keyboard, hit enter, and that's the card that you'll choose based on me shuffling on we're working together in the metaverse. So I'm shuffling right now. When you hear the word stop, type it out, hit enter, and that's a card that we'll pick and discuss. And then for you, same thing, Adriana, think about setting the intentions and then typing in. When I get to your deck, you'll do the same thing, type in stop. And then Dana, I'll see you at 11:30. Anybody else that wants to join in, again, you can get all the information at marclainhart.com. The Zoom links are on the closed pages that you won't find them until you're a subscriber on my Patreon, Prospectors, and or Diamond Sub. Here's your card, my friend. This is a beautiful card, actually. Beautiful card. This card is called the Pansy or the Viola. And the numbers associated with is the number 2 and the 6. And the 2 represents peace. The 6 represents compassion for self in the world of numerology. And together, the 2 and the 6 equals 8, which is about manifesting your heart's desires. But the name is derived from the French word for thought. So Tara, I want you to think about, it's very much connected to thoughtful reflection or remembrance. So this must be a very important, this must be very important in your life just now. Take some time to reflect. The Pansy has particular connections with lovers, thoughts, and secret messages to one another. It is a testimony of enduring love with those now in the spirit world. Shakespeare actually called this the flower of romance. It is edible, and when it's grown as a herbal medicine by the Greeks, so therefore recipients can actually have natural healing energy of the viola or the pansy. But it says in some cultures it represents merriment, so enjoy time for yourself. You deserve it. And have a wonderful 4th, and thanks for being a subscriber and joining me on this journey. All right. Next up is Adriana, color card. Here you go. Type in the word stop when you get it. And I'll just shuffle on my end looking for stop. I'll give you about 30 seconds to do this before we move on, just like Tara did. All right. So again, working with my subscribers. When you hear the word stop, type it in, hit enter. And this is for the color deck, Adriana. And Odith, I'd love to see you become a subscriber, my friend. You've been following me for a while, so I've changed my format now a little bit. And I'm just doing this for the subscribers today, because sometimes the subscribers can't meet the 11:30 meeting or the 3 p.m. meeting, which is fine. But again, it's Diamond Days. It's all carved out and dedicated just to the subscribers. Time is your greatest commodity, y'all, not money. Time and health. Your health is your wealth. Time is your greatest commodity. Stop. Perfect. Thank you. Time is your greatest commodity. Your health is your greatest wealth. Never forget that. Beautiful card for you today, my friend. Brilliance. Discover your sparkle. Another 26. We just picked back-to-back cards 26. That's interesting. That card was 26. This card, different deck, 26. So same applies to you, Adriana. Discover your sparkle. Find that diamond within. Do it through water, do it through nature, but the brilliance, and use this color of blue to connect with that. But the 2 is peace. 6 is compassion for self. 2 plus 6 is to manifest your heart's desires. And I know the life path 8 because I'm a life path 8 in numerology. So use that color blue, that brilliance, and discover your sparkle. And how can you do that? Everything I just talked about. Spirituality is ... You fill in the blanks. Okay, Odith, check in on it. Again, go to marclainhart.com or scroll up. There's a Diamond Sub subscriber. You can go to the Intuitive Prospector page on Facebook and hit the subscriber button. Again, it's $4.99, y'all. But for $4.99, once a month, you can have a reading with me for free. I don't know any other professional, accredited, certified psychic mediums that do that. But that's part of being the subscriber. And of course, you get benefits inside the hub, inside Patreon Prospectors, articles, my newsletter, little podcasts that I do, things that I share with you in my book, things that I'm working on. So that kind of stuff. But yeah, definitely check that out. Just because I know you follow my journey for a while, tell me what you want, Odith, and I'll finish up with you. How's that? But check out the subscription. Do you want a deck? Do you want a reading? And then I'll be back here at 11:30 on Zoom for those that you are coming in for the first session. And again, 11:30 is usually for my international clients. If you're fine, if you're in the United States, that's fine. I have the 2 time frames to meet the different time zones, because England over in the UK, they're 8 hours ahead. So 11:30 here is nighttime there, and vice versa. So, all right, Otis may have dropped off. Okay, that's fine. Card is fine. Okay. For you, my friend, I drawn to. Let's go to the Oracle deck for you. Oracle deck. Nice deep breath, set your intentions. When you hear the word stop, type it in, hit enter, and I'll finish up there. You're welcome, Tara. Good to see you. Happy 4th. Thanks for tuning in and follow me on this wonderful, amazing, curious, crazy journey that we're all on, right? All right. Otis, when you're ready. If anybody else wants one, I'll just throw in a freebie. Why not? I give my time. Okay, reshuffling. Type in stop when you're ready, Otis. 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 Stop. There you are. Okay. I'm getting a little worried. I was getting to the end of the deck. I do 2 shuffles, and if nobody's there, then I keep moving on. Okay. Tell me what's going on here. The 3 energy. So the 3 energy is about compassionate. It's about expression. We call it the self-creative expressive. Are you dealing with heartache and loss right now? Are you dealing with, and again, it doesn't have to be with the physical. It could be the emotional, the mental, the spiritual, but what's going on with you for the heartache and loss? And we'll just hold space for you. Again, everybody's always in a different place on their journey, but the card that you pulled based on your intentions and saying stop, I pull up the heartache and loss, and you know, this lovely lady here is looking down, but she has her hands in prayer and she's connecting to that frequency, which we all have, you know, connected to. So think about that. Does that resonate? Does that ruminate with you, or is it off? I'm just curious. Just, you know, because again, it's based on what you picked. Based on I picked the deck, but you picked the card. But heartache and loss, and if that's the case, we'll definitely send you some inspiring, uplifting, healing and energy, and hold space for you, whatever that situation is. Adriana, you're very welcome, my friend. Good to see you. Jane, also, you're an SDG member, so if you want to drop in 11:30 for a reading, you're more than welcome to as well, because that's open. The Diamonds Day is for my students as well. So again, first session 11:30 a.m. That link is on the Prospector Patreon Prospectors page. So you still have to sign up, Jane, at one of the either the Diamonds Hub, or you can join for free on the Patreon Prospector to do the low membership fee to get in on that as well. I'll have to remind my members, or my students, I keep forgetting to tell them. All right, feels so overwhelming lately. Yeah, there's a lot going on, my friend. It definitely feels overwhelming. There's a lot, but again, it's about what we tune into and what we don't tune in, what we can handle, what we can't handle, right? We pick our battles, we make our choices. So just, you know, be mindful and think about all the things that I talked about on the spiritual aspects. Breathe, what we control, what we can't control, right? So there's a lot that takes place with that journey. You know, one of the things I was going to finish up here, let's see here, see if I still have it. So it was a quote, you know, keep learning with the education, is what I was going to say. It's Einstein that talked about, quote, education is what remains after one has forgotten what one has learned in school. And I forgot a lot of what I learned in school, but life is the school of life, right? Life doesn't ask us what we want. It's just about how we show up to life and how we navigate, how flexible we are, or unflexible we are. I always remind people to be like bamboo, strong, flexible. But if you ever tried to break bamboo, it's hard. I got bamboo off camera. I used to have a huge bamboo bush. There's a bunch of bamboo over here, the shells. You try to break them, they're pretty tough. So be like bamboo, strong, flexible, but yet not breakable on that first thing. And again, continue to learn, because, you know, even my mentor, I was thinking about when I was taking my final boards for my accreditation, I remember my mentor saying, life is a lifelong journey. Once growth stops, decay begins. And that's always stuck with me, because it doesn't matter if you're 80 years old or 8 years old, there's always something to be learned. And again, having that awareness, the difference between the science of it and the spirituality of it, the science is what we call logic, left brain, spirituality, intuition, right brain, awareness or analysis, left brain, imagination, right brain, reasoning, left brain, creativity, right brain, order, left brain, chaos, right brain, dogma, left brain, flow. I'm sorry, dogma, left brain, flow, right brain. And it's only awareness that we can bridge the gap between the science, and I approach this from a scientific aspect as well, not just a woo-woo and, oh, he said, she said, or something was written 2,000 years ago to make it so. No, I look at the left brain, right brain, and I use awareness to connect the two. Again, logic to intuition, analysis to imagination, reasoning to creativity, order to flow, order to chaos, dogma to flow. That's the bridge of awareness. And if you do that, your life will change in ways you couldn't even imagine. So again, that's today's concept. I hope it resonates with you. If not, then that's okay too. It's just the message. I'm just the messenger. And again, spirituality is ... You decide where you want to take it from there. So, all right, my friends. Well, it's good to see you. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Put my cards back here so I can get ready for my subscribers. Happy 4th to you. Happy Friday. It is Diamond Days, so I'll see some of you over in the Zoom room here in a little bit. And most importantly, just, like I said, some of the most spiritual thing you can do, if you fill in that blank, spirituality is ... Just have fun. Have fun. Live your life. Don't sweat the small stuff. Take that deep breath and just go out and find inspiration in the world and help somebody, help a stranger, smile at a stranger. Our world is so connected, more connected than we've ever have been, but we're more disconnected than we've ever been. So I look at that as well. And again, the month of July is National UFO Day, so we'll be celebrating that in the weeks ahead. I'll be back next Friday for another show. The following Friday, I won't have a show because I will actually be talking about exploring. I'll be up in the rainforest, working with Mother Nature and grandmother medicine, and looking forward to that. So there won't be a show on that Friday. There is a podcast coming up. If you want to follow my podcast, Inspired Living Now is now syndicated. We have guests all the way through November now. We're Wednesdays at 12 p.m. Pacific through Om Times Radio. You can get the show through my page. You can get the past shows wherever you get your favorite podcasts, including Audible and Alexa. And we're now rated as a top inspirational podcast and a top spiritual podcast. And there's a lot of podcasts out there, so we really appreciate that. We will have a guest on next Wednesday. We're going to be talking about energy and clearing in house, and how historic places can hold energy, and how to work with that. So if that's something you're interested in, again, we've had some really lovely guests the last few shows. I've really learned a lot and been inspired by what these amazing guests bring to the show, and their concepts and what they're working on, their modalities. But again, you can just type up Inspired Living, just look for my ugly mug on the branding, and you can get that wherever you get your favorite podcast from. Again, my newsletter for July is out. If you want to get that newsletter, it's also over on my page under the events or subscribe store. I can't remember, where is that. I just updated my website, so I'm trying to remember. But there's some cool stuff coming up, including Experience the Etheric and an expo that I have coming up in October, which is my one local event that I do. So if you want to get into that, let's see. Yeah, so if you go to my subscribe store, you can get my book. There's some things I sell, Lavender Love. You can get cool t-shirts with a discount. That's also where you can get I'll just put this link. This is where you can get on to the subscriber services: YouTube, Meetup, Spiritual Development, Patreon, Diamonds Hub, Insight Timer, all that. And then if you keep scrolling down, there's a newsletter sign up if you want to sign up for the newsletter. And if you keep scrolling down, you'll see Soul Adventures, and I just put July's for 2025 e-newsletter up if you want to check that out. So I'll put that in the link right now for y'all. Let's just comment real quick, and then we'll wrap up. Here, turn the volume down. So for those of you that want to check it out, here's the link. There we go, for the newsletter. That's how I'm trying to communicate more through my newsletter and through my subscriber services. So not so much through here, but I appreciate all of you. Thanks for hanging out. You're welcome, Otis. Good to see you. And just give yourself a lot of grace, one day at a time, right? So until our next soul adventure together, be kind, be caring, be compassionate for one another, especially right now. I know that especially here in the United States, we have politics that are just driving the, but again, if you follow my work, you know that I said the United States is not going to look like the United States in the future, whether it's through a revolution, through a civil war, or a breaking up of the country, just like Portugal did from Spain. I'm going to Portugal in a few months, so I'm going to be looking at the history of that because they had their own civil war. But it kind of reminds me of the West Coast of the United States breaking off and becoming their own Portugal, you know, Washington, Oregon, California, compared to other parts of the country, you know. It wouldn't surprise me. I don't really get into politics, but I just know that that the politics is driving different constructs of consciousness, and there's usually going to be a battle. History teaches us that, and humans, you know, have been doing this for throughout our history. So yeah, I know it's trying times, but you know, try to find the good in the day. We do an exercise called the high, low, grateful. At the end of the day, what was your high for the day? Honor that. What was your low for the day? Acknowledge that. Don't live in it, just acknowledge it, let it pass. And then of course, you know, I always say Buddha, you gotta let that shit go. And then of course, what you're grateful for, because that attitude for gratitude changes the mindset. And again, your spirituality path, whatever that is for you, spirituality is ... That is today's message. You fill in the rest of the blank. So again, be kind, caring, compassionate to one another. I'll see you next time here on Metaphysical Meetup with Mark. I'll see the subscribers over here in 15 minutes for Diamonds Day. And then again at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for anybody else that wants to join. Come in, get a message, get some guidance, whatever you need. I'm here to help you prospect for the diamond within and the many hidden gems that are all around us. So dare to dream, dare to explore, dare to live, and discover that diamond within. I'll see you next time here. Take care, everybody. Happy 4th. Have a great weekend. Be safe. Bye-bye. Or no, not bye-bye. Namaste. Namago. All right. Cheers.
One planet, 7.3 billion people, only one you. Life offers us many opportunities and learning experiences. Are you ready to explore and discover this beautiful planet, the life and energy all around us, the spiritual world, and what is unseen, along with your own personal soul adventure? Marc Lainhart, the intuitive prospector, is the spiritual connection you have been prospecting for. Internationally known as a tested and professional clairvoyant medium and spiritual advisor, Marc's work as a metaphysical teacher, medical instructor, radio show host, inspirational writer, and hiking guide, are here to help you on a journey of self-discovery, healing, inspiration, education, and a whole lot of spiritual awesomeness. Dare to dream. Dare to explore. Dare to live. For more information on Marc's spiritual practice in Seattle, Washington, please visit marclainhart.com or internet search The Intuitive Prospector.